Hello and good morning. My name is Leslie, and for those of you who don't know, I am a breast cancer survivor. May of this year will be 6 years cancer free. And I decided to talk about life after a cancer diagnosis or life after cancer. But in order to do that, I need to go back to the beginning. So, in 2020, I saw some changes to my left breast. The changes that I saw is that it was red, the skin was thickened, or it could have looked like swelling, but now I know that the skin was thickened. It was warm or hot to the touch, and my nipple was inverted, as well as the skin um, on my breast in the thickened area looked like the skin of an orange. So, like those little hole type things, it looked like the skin of an orange. Um, but before that, I had absolutely no symptoms, no nothing. And I went to get my first mammogram. I believe I was like 42 at the time. I went to get my very first mammogram. And during a mammogram, if you are not familiar, you put your breast in this machine and it presses hard on your breast to get an image. So I truthfully think that because of the mammogram, whatever was going on, I now know that it was invasive ductal carcinoma, which is cancer in the milk ducts. I honestly believe that when I went for my first mammogram, the tight press and squeeze on my breasts activated something or pressed so hard that I don't know, maybe some of the cancer cells, I'm not really sure how that all works, came out of the milk ducts or it produced something that started manifesting. Because shortly after I had my very first mammogram, I would say maybe 3 to 5 days later, is when I saw the manifestation of the evidence of breast cancer appearing in a physical form. Because the mammogram actually cleared me. No cancer in either of my breasts. They did want to do a follow up on my right breast because there was some dense tissue, but it completely cleared my left breast. So about 3 to 5 days later, after the mammogram, I saw what I described earlier. My left breast was red. It was hot or warm to the touch. The skin was thickened around my areola area, and it looked like the skin of an orange. So I made an appointment to see my primary care physician here in North Carolina. And on that day, my actual primary care physician was not assigned inside the office. It was during the time of COVID. And so she was out doing COVID tests for patients. So I ended up seeing a male doctor. That male doctor, he saw my breast and saw the changes and did absolutely nothing. Seems like he was not even worried about it, had no sense of urgency or anything, and just told me to follow up with my primary care doctor in 2 weeks. So I did follow up with my doctor, and immediately my primary care doctor, who is still my primary care doctor today. Love her so much. Shout out to her. When I showed her, my breast was immediately alarmed, immediately agitated and frustrated with the male doctor, who just kind of wrote it off and did nothing. She immediately wanted to schedule me for a follow-up mammogram, but I told her I had an appointment next week for the follow-up to my right breast, and so she was like, okay, well, keep that appointment and make sure that they send me the information from the mammogram. So when I went for my follow-up, they only wanted to initially check the right breast, which was where the dense tissue was. But I spoke to the tech and told her, like, something is going on with my left breast. I showed it to her. She went to talk to the doctor, and they also checked the left breast. When they checked the left breast, that doctor was she knew that something was going on, and her first thought was that it was inflammatory breast cancer because of the symptoms that my breast was showing: the inverted nipple, the skin was thickened, and it looked like the skin of an orange peeling. So she initially thought it was inflammatory breast cancer, which is one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer. And so from there, I went from a healthy person, never being hospitalized, never having any type of broken bones, never having any type of issues. I've only would go to the doctors once a year for my yearly physical. Like, I had absolutely no health issues. I went from that to now possibly having a cancer diagnosis and going to the doctors every week. Sometimes I would go 2-3 times a week. There was a series of tests and biopsies and things that I had to go through. One, to find out the stage, the grade, if it was in fact cancerous. So several MRIs of the breast, full body scans, just like my life changed in a matter of days. And so from there, like I said, full body scan, bone density tests, MRIs, biopsies. And the first biopsy they did was they took a sample of the skin on the outside of my breast, and as well the inside of the breast where the tumor was. And they found out that it wasn't inflammatory breast cancer. There was no cancer on the outside of my breast, which I now believe and have always believed that that was God's way of showing me that something was going on. So my skin was just inflamed for whatever reason. And so there was no cancer on the outside, but I did have cancer on the inside of my breast. I found out that it was invasive ductal carcinoma, and it was also in my lymph nodes. So it came out. It is invasive because it came out of the local area of where it started, and now it was also in my lymph nodes. And so this video is almost coming up to 10 minutes, so I'm going to talk a little more in the next video.